Where the other people? The place was empty today. They were on Christmas.
They're looking for the Christmas order.
Oh, looking for it. Everyone said they're looking for it.
Yeah, still.
So they are different. Legislatively.
They're different. Okay, so gentlemen and ladies, welcome to this media, our regular media interaction. We are closing, so today we adjourn the special session, as you heard. So we worked for 2 months, pro bono, which was being on break, but our break short because we had to look at the budget because the fiscal year had changed. So we received the draft budget from the president and also the version from the House. The House has passed it, so it's now with the Senate. So we hope to look at it and get it approved next year, January, most likely before the president or under message. While we were here also, we received 2 mineral development agreements from the president, one for Bauchico, for iron ore deposits in part of Kwame and mostly in Wapolu, and the third amendment to the ArcelorMittal mineral development agreement, also for iron ore. Both have not yet been approved, but are going through something called legislative processing in the legislature. We also received a dual citizenship bill from the House of Representatives that is in committee room. At the last press conference, we dealt with the issue of the 5% equity in petroleum rights for Liberians. There was a group in the diaspora that were arguing that that 5% was taken away during the last amendment of the petroleum law. At our last press conference stated that no, there was additional 5%, we gave 10%. The Judiciary Committee had a public hearing informing those from the diaspora and those from LPRA and local, and concluded that indeed that 5% we're talking about is an additional 5% for citizens. Before, almost our last session, there's this infrastructure agreement for roads that was executed 3 years back between Ibomap and Elton. They are not performed, so the Senate mandated the Ministers of Justice and Finance to have those agreements terminated, and we are sure that that process will start this week. Thank you for the press interaction, and again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Well, my name is Samson David from ELBC. Pro-tem, you were called back for the passage of the special budget. Can we say that you're coming back, you didn't meet your objective in terms of the way the budget hasn't been passed?
Remember our first interaction in my statement? I said we'll record ourselves to deal with the national budget and other issues of national concern. So it was not only for the budget. So the stay was worthwhile, it was successful.
Sure. Thank you very much. Sir, my name is Dr. Shimon. I'm from KMTV. I'm concerned about the ArcelorMittal development, mineral development agreement. Is there a time frame for the joint committee to come up with a report on the report that will inform the Senate on its decision?
You mean the Senate Joint Committee?
Yeah, is there a time frame given them?
There's no time frame because have to look at the agreement in its entirety. If I may add that MITA will still be operating because they still have a valid agreement with the government. One of the main things that the agreement will do is for them to expand the concentrator so that they can start producing a high coal. So we'll exhaust the entire process that will make our work credible after we have project back. So there's no time.
Focus.
Sir, I have two concerns. One is, what will be the impact or the effect of that concurrence of the House on the draft budget? Now we know that our fiscal year is 12 months.
Yeah.
And you're going into the new year without having a confirmed or signed budget.
Right.
What do you think will be the effect on the economy? Then your issue to the court. We went to the Supreme Court for interpretation of what the House of Representatives accuse you of insulting their functions when it comes to revenue bills. We've not heard, we've heard in the media that you go for a conference, but what would be the expectation of the Senate?
Okay, so you have been around for some time, and when we started October 18th, they told us there's one month extra before they submitted the budget to us. And it was not a joint budget hearing, the us had to complete and send it to us. We just received it. So I would assume that if it's not ready before the 15th of January next month, the Ministry of Finance Development Planning will revert to the PFM law that says that they can use 1/12 of the budget to take over to consider the operations of government so government can shut down. The issue of where mineral development agreement should originate is a constitutional issue. That issue has been around for some time. And so we met, the speaker and myself met, and we decided that because their interpretation is opposed to our interpretation, and the best institution to interpret the Constitution as the Supreme Court. So we decided that we'll go there for interpretation. There's nothing so severe. And we are asking the Supreme Court as well why they are doing their work, that they should return us to status quo so that government work can continue. That is how it used to be. We should continue that. So we can start government work. So it's just interpretation issue. We have no serious problem.
Yeah, Pro-Tem, my name is Aaron Kuban and I report for Fabric. My concern has to do with the same ArcelorMittal deal. You did not pass on it because the House of Representatives, in their own words, ratified the document and sent it to you. But there is concern as to whether the House of Representatives can make amendments to an agreement that should be ratified, that already been signed by the executive and the requesting party, which is the ArcelorMittal Bureau in this case. As a legislator, what's your expert view surrounding this? Whether there can be an amendment inserted within an agreement that comes from the executive in terms of our MTA?
Okay, so first, we have not received the version from the House yet. The House or any chamber can propose amendment. So if the House has some amendment for the MTA, they will send a proposed amendment to us. If we concur with the amendment, then we send them to the executive branch for them to consider them. And the way to consider them will mean that they will renegotiate with the concessionaire. If there are amendments from the House come to us and we don't concur, and we have additional or different amendments, different proposals, we'll form a conference committee. That conference committee will look at both versions and synchronize them. They will come up with one version from the legislature that will go to the executive to be considered by the executive and the concession. That's the procedure.
So follow up. So can we now consider what went on at the House of Representatives?
I don't know what went on, but I've not received a document from them, so I can't speak to that. Yeah.
My name is James Samuel Bude Flamos on FM TV. The last time we witnessed this action came from the U.S., where one of your colleagues was sessioned by the U.S. government, that is Senator Sherman. And recently, another senator was hit by the United States government again. I'm asking you because you had this as a discussion in session to engage the United States. And up to now, we are here to know what you did, whether you had a friendly conversation with them regarding this, and you have two senators now who have been hit by the United States government. How do you look at this, and what are you going to do to engage them as per what you started in session? Next, the accelerometer deal, though you have now passed the budget, you listen to the Minister of Finance. They said about 30 million of the money from the deal should be embedded into our budget. And this budget has not been passed, accelerometer agreement has not been passed. You think this is not going to have effect on our national budget if the deal is not approved and then you go ahead next year and approve the budget? Can you approve the budget without approving the deal, looking at the financial differences?
Yeah, okay, so in this present 6-month budget, there is a line, the projected line for remittances from ArcelorMittal. And we have not approved the Mittal agreement yet, MTA yet. So those funds may not be, I say may not be forthcoming. So I believe the Ministry of Finance will look for additional sources of revenue or take the appropriate action so that it cannot be anybody's already shortfall. For next year, the budget is projected at 786 million. If you subtract the $55 million from Mittal, we still have more than 700 million. And that is above the regular budget, which will pass 640 something million. So we can run the budget without contribution from Mittal. And let me remind you that Mittal is still operating, and they will still operate, they will still pay taxes to the government.
Yeah, the next.
Oh yeah, the sanctions. Yes, we discussed with the U.S. government on the first one, Senator Sherman, to understand the condition on which the sanction was imposed. And Senator Sherman has taken several steps to engage the U.S. government through the legal process.
The last.
Well, we just heard of Senator Johnson, who are taking no action.
Yeah, just two quick concerns. One is just that what you just ended. You don't think these restrictions, session restrictions, could impede the function of the Liberia Senate? Secondly, I want your professional opinion on this as it relates to the ArcelorMittal deal, taking into account your view study.
The sanction has not impeded our work yet. Although we are concerned, we have not yet impeded the work of the legislature. but they are still functioning in their capacities as senators. We want a professional view on what aspects of
the deal. Is it good for Liberia? Do you think it meet the minimum standard? Despite controversial surrounding that from people of the three countries.
You see, there's no perfect agreement. When agreement comes to us, let me speak not from a professional point, maybe from the point of legislator. When it comes to us, we have to make it as good as possible so that there can be a win-win situation. That's what we are trying to do with this agreement. So as one of your colleagues asked, what time frame? There's no time frame. Because when the issues that are coming up are issues in the first and second amendment, in the old agreement, a lot of issues are coming from there. And we are looking at that. Then there are additional issues that are occasioned by the third amendment. So we look at everything. At the end of the day, once we pass it, next time our press conference, then we can go through that. But now with committee, right now I can't add a professional, other politician. So the committee will do the professional work.
Jackson.
So, my name is Jackson Clare from ABC Radio Liberia. So, still on the accelerated deal. The second amendment, there's the portion that says Meta can only ask for extension provided if the current deal remaining 6 months to a year. And Meta still has 9 years and requesting extension. Are you taking those into consideration, and what's the rush for extension?
Okay, so circumstances dictate the request for extension. When the deal was done in 2005, we never envisaged Ebola. Ebola had its own effect worldwide on economies, on projects. You can see, for example, some companies sense Ebola, they are not even returned. So some companies declare something called force majeure. That is, because of Ebola, they ask for extra time. That one issue must consider. Then came another disaster, COVID. Third, the slump in the world price of iron ore. All those changed the parameters on which Meta was operating. Now, Meta has, say, 8 years to go. Now they are about to make major investment of almost $1 billion to increase the mine life to 30 years. Think about it. To increase the mine life to 30 years, yet you have 9 years remaining. I think it's rational that they ask for additional time. It's rational.
See, yeah. Good day, I'm saying myself there from the Harper newspaper, and my first one saying has to do with this bringing some issue. The help like when Senate, Lufa is represented with one senator, and going 1 year with one senator. If that really worry you, my second personality with this is just the issue. When amendment of such is done, that the way the House made that recommendation, when it is sent to the executive, I want for you to make the public to understand whether that can be inserted in the agreement or it can be separate as or memorandum of understanding attached to the agreement. Because the second amendment that was done, what was attached to that agreement was memorandum of understanding, which it will make that not binding on measures for them to do it, where it's just a recommendation attached to the agreement. Can this recommendation, will it be compared for the executive to carry back this agreement to method to say and make sure that this recommendation from the House, if it will be concurred with the Liberian Senate, will be inserted in the agreement? That will make a binding on measures.
Okay, so the similar issue, yes, as head of the Senate, I'm concerned. We have 29 senators, all which will have 30, as the Constitution says. But again, the matter is in court, so there's absolutely nothing I can do and nothing much I can say until the court rules finally. So let's wait until the Supreme Court, because there are a lot of motions that have been filed at the Supreme Court. On the issue of proposals from the House of Representatives, the House alone cannot send anything to the executive. It's that agreement is a bill. You don't will pass ordinary bill. They must pass both houses. So whatever the House sends to us is proposed amendment. That had the city agreement. We'll look at it. If we accept, then we'll do the paperwork. It goes to the executive. If the executive accepts, they don't have to call a concession yet because they know what to do. If they accept, the president signs into law. What the House will send to us will be proposed amendment. Just remember that. They will send proposed amendment, proposed changes, what they wanted to see. Whether they put red mark through it, yellow mark through it, they will be all proposals. When it comes to us, if we agree with them, what we send to the executive will be proposal as well, proposed changes. You understand that, right? They're all proposed. All proposed. If they accept it, president sign it to law. If they don't accept, they will renegotiate and send it back to us. President as well could veto. President will say, I don't agree with you. You veto the whole thing. He say, why your proposal? I don't agree. We don't agree. In that case, we have only one option to override the veto by 2/3, both houses. So you don't read the Constitution, the whole procedure. This one is not different from passing bill. It's the same thing.
Last question. Thank you, President. My name is Lamoto Arikova Banaifa. For you to make it very clear, the direct mandate that was given to the CBO in the new family agreement. Because my question is coming from the budget where few senators, including most of the country Senator Abraham Darrell, argued that the mandate was not to tell the CBO to refuse, to change the entire current to bring new money. So why are you people refusing that? So there was not a mandate given to the CBO. So I want to make it clear what the direct mandate was given to the CBO in relation to this money fluting aspect.
The mandate was to print a new family of currency with different denominations and eventually change the entire regime of the existing currency.
So the follow-up. So in that decision, was there any political reason where senators saw the specimen of the new money for being printed? Because that was one argument of few senators that they didn't see specimen of the new money. They just saw it probably being printed.
Yeah, well, some may not see it, but there were posters all around the country with the samples. I saw one, but they sent one to me here. So I believe some senators saw it, some may not have seen it.
Let us follow up to the same money issue for them. We were told early November that we have received 4 billion new money. Is that money here? Is it on the market or is it being kept in the board of the CBO?
When the money arrived, the 4 billion were notified. Myself, actually, I want to see the new one, even though it was on in my hand. So I always ask him, where's the new money? Because people also ask me outside, Britain has one new money, let's see it. The last time I asked, so my colleagues told me that yes, I think the commercial bank started receiving some. But I didn't ask the senator officially. So my colleagues told me that. So obviously, eventually, I'm sure it will be all around. Somebody see new one there. Right there. The new one.
Yeah.
You see? I'm gonna say I'm not seeing it. Let me see it. So you see, they show that it's already in the market. Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen.